Hi, it's Gary King, the creator of the Happiness Experiment. That's the number one. I do public events every week. The number one question people ask me is, what's the happiness experiment? Oh, well, the simple answer is there's 9 billion people on the planet that we live on, and almost all of them are experimenting with happiness. And what exactly does that mean? They're looking for a person, place, or thing that will fill this void called happiness. Well, I did all that stuff, and that isn't where it comes from. It comes from reflecting on your life back when you were a little child and what you went through when you were a little child. Because what you went through when you were a little child creates the path that you take in the life that you live. And that may sound odd, but let me give you some examples. All right. So I've been teaching and sharing these theories. The theories are true. The stories are not true. So I'm going to share another one of those with you now. It is called the boiling frog theory. Okay, the boiling frog theory. So this is how it works. You take a live frog, you put it in a pot of cold water, and you put it on the stove. And you don't put a lid on the pot, so the frog can jump out anytime. Now, once again, the theory is true. The story I'm telling you is not true, but the theory is true. The boiling frog theory. So you put the live frog in the pot of cold water, you put it on the stove, and you turn the temperature up 1 degree over a very long period of time. Well, what happens is the frog adapts to the water temperature change. And it keeps adapting and adapting, and finally the water boils and kills the frog. Okay, now how does this apply to humanity? Well, humanity, the tendency of humans is to ignore little changes and adapt to the little change. So this happens and they adapt. And the things that are happening are actually negative. So it's like turning up the water temperature 1 degree each time, which makes the frog hotter and hotter, yet the frog doesn't jump out. It can jump out any time, but it doesn't. Well, humans do the same thing. As the water starts to get hotter, meaning their relationship isn't working, their job isn't working, their mental health isn't working, their physical health isn't working, and what they do is they just adjust and adapt, and then all of a sudden the water boils and the bottom falls out. You go through all kinds of negative things, from divorces to mental health issues to physical health issues. And that's generally speaking because people keep adapting to things that aren't healthy. Okay, behaviors that aren't healthy. One of those behaviors is lying. How many people lie? Almost everybody on planet Earth lies in one form or another. Maybe they lie to themselves. Maybe they lie to other people. Maybe they do it to avoid accountability. Maybe they do it to gain an upside in their mind, that if they become dishonest, they'll make more money, or they'll use deception, and on and on and on. Most people do that. I stopped doing that kind of behavior. Let's see, when did I do that? Back in the 80s. I learned the hard way that not being honest all the time with yourself and other people has a terrible downside. You can call it karma, you can call it the laws of cause and effect. And as I've mentioned many times, yes, I have worked face to face with celebrities that everybody watching this knows who they are. I never name them for a multitude of reasons, but the richest, most powerful, most influential celebrities on the earth. And what are they? Unhappy. Imagine that, because you can't imagine that, because the imagination goes where? Oh, well, if they have this, this, and this, they must be happy. Well, that's making an assumption that happiness comes from the outside world. Happiness does not come from the outside world. If you take one thing away from my videos, happiness does not come from the outside world. Pleasure comes from the outside world, and pleasure in and of itself can get people to do things they should never do. And they wind up regretting when they get to the last days of their life. They go through a whole regret cycle. That's another story that I will eventually share with you. But once again, if you are in the United States and you go on to thehappinessexperiment.com, and there's merchandise, the happiness signs, clothing, the hats, all kinds of, the stickers are all on there. If you do that, you will get a link to the Happiness Experiment movie starring me, Gary King. You'll get a link to that movie, because right now that's the only way you can watch it, is if you get a link to it sent to you. So if you purchase anything on there, you'll get a link to the movie. So I am going to continue and do probably a couple dozen more short videos, and the whole reason I am doing this is so that on your path, wherever you live, and whatever your situation is, whatever your current situation is, your relationship situation, your financial situation, your emotional and mental health, whatever it is, all of these videos are designed to take you to a place where you discover what real happiness is, so the next time you're in public and somebody says, "How are you?" You have a one-word comment, and your comment is happy. So I'll see you soon.